Hey, guess what we're cooking today? It's gonna be ribs, okay? If you haven't tried any of my other recipes, my other dishes, you wanna try this one. Why? Because who doesn't like ribs, right? Okay, first of all, this ribs is kids friendly. Kids love them. Adults friendly because adults love them. Party friendly because every time people devour this dish first, okay? And then it's warm weather friendly because when it's warm outside, you want ribs, barbecue ribs and ribs. Sometimes you want to change up the little flavor. This ribs is a good substitute. And it's cold weather friendly because when you cannot do barbecue ribs, hey, guess what? You can do this one. All right, it is so simple. Do you know how I found out this, how we started this dish, this recipe? Okay, it's simply because one day we have too many onions in the fridge and one rack of ribs, okay? And that's why I'm like, me and my mom, like, what do we do with this? Okay, we just play around and then we make it and we're like, oh my God, this ribs tastes just like one of the famous dish from a famous restaurant in Taiwan, but super expensive. And we actually think this one tastes better. And I seriously don't know why they're so overpriced in that restaurant. Ah, come on. So, cut the crap. We gotta start cooking, okay? First of all, I'm gonna heat up the pan. Okay, you need the pan to be a little bit, have depth because there's gonna be juice so that you're basically braising the ribs for 2 hours, okay? But it's how do you say, it's low maintenance dish, okay? Don't think about 2 hours and like, freak out, no, there's no way. No, it is so simple. You get to drink coffee and wine in between and no sweat. Okay, just watch me. All right, so first, you need onions. This is 2 big, huge yellow onions. Any kinds of onions is fine. Sometimes I don't have yellow onions. I use the purple red onions too, and that's okay. So you just thinly slice like this, okay? No need stressed out about how thin it is because eventually it's gonna break down and it will just have, most of them are gonna break down. Just have a little bit left, enough for it to be like the sauce on top of the ribs and make it juicy and beautiful and glossy. Okay. Now, a little bit of tomatoes. This is just 1 room tomatoes. Tomato, remember, is not required, okay? So when we first came up with this dish, we didn't have tomatoes in the fridge, so we didn't use tomatoes. It's just later on you have, tomatoes, you just add one in and see how, it does to the dish. And it actually brightens up the dish a little more because this is more like a sweeter side, on the sweeter side of the dish, the taste. So I find when I adding tomatoes, it just brightens up the dish and then give it a little balance, but you don't taste the tomatoes. This is not a tomato-based dish. It's just somehow, if I don't tell you, you probably wouldn't know there's tomato in there, but it just kind of brighten up a little bit. But if you don't have the tomatoes, it's okay. It's still gonna taste amazing. All right, so now the pan's heat up. Okay, first of all, we not want to brown the ribs. Okay, I just add a little bit of oil, not a lot, because it's just browning. Okie doke. Watch out, it's gonna splash a little. I cut the rib, you can see, like the whole long rib into half, so it fits the pan better. Okay, now I'm just searing it. And when you're browning it, remember, the cut bone side needs to be sealed too. That's when it flashes more, so be careful. That's why I wear an apron. Otherwise, I'm normally lazy and not wearing aprons. And then when I get stained, I'm like, I should have wear an apron. I do that like for 10 years. Why? Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know, but oh well. And this is the most stressful part of this dish. So you know how simple this dish is. Okay, once you think you're done browning them, put them back on the plate. Okay. Ooh, splashing. Look, pretty. Okay, now we're just gonna we're not gonna caramelize the onions. We're just gonna make sure it's softened and kind of translucent looking. Okay. And remember, to speed up the process, you add a little bit of salt. Not a lot, just a little bit, maybe half teaspoon even. Because we don't want it to, a lot of Chinese dish, we use soy sauce, and a lot of experienced Chinese cooks actually we don't need to taste the sauce to know if it's seasoned right. We just look at the color, right? So and that means if I put too much salt in here, then later on I can't put as much soy sauce as I want to, so the color won't look as beautiful to us. That's why we just need a little bit to help the onions to release the juice and get softened. Okay, now take a look at the onions. They're translucent and softened, and that's perfect, okay? It takes you about 2 to 3 minutes to do this. It's very relaxing. You stir once in a while. No sweat. And then we put in the tomatoes. And again, give it a light stir. All right, now it's the part that we're gonna season. This is important, okay? Because once I'm done putting these liquid seasoning in, you're not gonna see a lot of the sauce. So you're gonna be like, how am I not gonna braise this? Okay, believe me, you use low heat, and then an hour later you come back, it's gonna be half pan of like liquid sauce in there, okay? Because the onion's gonna release juice. Okay, now we just need about, I'll measure later and put it in my recipe, but I say it's about 1 good cup of rice wine. And then is this Kirin, Japanese sweet rice wine that gives you Kirin is beer. So you know what I'm thinking? Yeah, this is a good dish to go with beer. Okay, no, Mirin, thank you, husband. All right, Kirin would do. Maybe next time we should try Kirin. It's another recipe, haha. All right, this sweet rice wine is gonna give the complements, the help out the onion sweetness. Okay, this is about maybe 1/3 of a cup. 1/4 cup, depends on how you like it. I mean, these are all baseline, okay? Every cook has their own taste. Every family life has their own taste, right? These are baseline. You adjust. Nothing is like a strict rules. That's why I like cooking, because there's no rules. I'm not good with the rules. Okay, now let's see. Okay, I give it a little stir.
What was that?
Oh, that's soy sauce. Soy sauce. Okay. I thought everybody knows. Anyways, okay. Now, take a little taste. Okay. Did I tell you I'm good? This is like perfect. Anyways, when you taste it, you want to taste the sweetness, but not too much, okay? But you do want to taste sweetness and saltiness, okay? And again, this dish is, you're gonna braise this the ribs in there for 2 hours in total. So you don't want the flavor to get too strong, and then eventually the flavor goes into the meat, and eventually in the end, if you want to like lighten it up, it's not gonna help because it's all sucked into the meat already. So you want to start on the lighter side, and also, okay, let me put the ribs in and then I'll talk, okay? So first, we put the bone side down. Why? Because then you don't need to flip. You only need to flip 1 time during the whole cooking process. Okay, come and take a look. I'm turning down the heat and let it simmer. So see, this is like not enough to braise the ribs, right? Don't worry, just leave it. Trust me. Later on, you'll see. It's gonna have the sauce is gonna double. Okay, and then let's just put a lid on for now. So what I was talking about? Nobody remembers? Okay then, maybe that's not important. Okay, we'll talk about it in an hour when we come back. Okay, and then we'll flip the ribs. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so, I remember now. So, I was telling you, the taste needs to be on the lighter side. Why? Because the reason I didn't use a crock pot for this dish, some people do, because I like to, in the very end, before I serve this dish, once it's all done, I'm gonna turn up the heat to super high, like high heat, to reduce the sauce. So it's kind of like, it's thickened too. So it looks glossy and thickened, and then I can put it on, kind of drizzle on top of the ribs and makes it look beautiful. And so when I do that, it's gonna also concentrate, kind of intense the flavor, right? So right now, you don't want it to be too salty or too sweet, because then when you reduce the sauce, it's gonna be too strong and too much, right? If you do want to use a crock pot, you can kind of like, after it's done, and you move it back to the pan, and then just kind of heat up. The whole reducing time only takes about 5 minutes maybe maximum. Okay, anyways, did I mention that this is a dish that you can drink your coffee and your wine while you're cooking it? So now, because you don't need to do anything about it, just turn the heat down, let it simmer for an hour, and then we'll come back. So right now, go pour yourself a cup of coffee and read, or do laundry, or mop the floor if you're Cinderella like me. All right, I'll see you in an hour. Okay, so it's an hour. I have my coffee, and it's time to open up and take a look. So remember, when we first started, the juice, the sauce was only like not even touching the ribs, right? But now look. I love this. Oh, smells so good. Okay, now what we need to do, told you, no sweat, right? Flip it here and here. Why? So when at the end, reducing the sauce, when the sauce becomes glossy and thickened, and it will make the meat side also very glossy, and the color will be beautiful and darker amber color. So that way I don't need to flip it and when I'm going to thicken the sauce. So now what we need to do is to, again, cover it up, but this time I say it's time for wine. So I'll see you in another hour. Another hour has passed. The glass of red wine is gone. So it's time to finish up this rib. Okay? So if you, open up. Okay, let me put this away because we don't need it anymore. Okay. So you can see it's still sizzling, right? And the juice is kind of reduced. Depends on what kind of pot that you use or pan that you use. Some pan, you know, can keep the moist better, so you will have more juice left, and some, you know, kind of evaporate better, so then you will have less juice left. And either way is fine. So look, I still have some juice, and I'm turning up the heat to high to kind of reduce and thicken it a little bit. Do you have to do that? No, because like my kids, they love using the sauce to pour over rice and eat it. So I'm gonna keep more sauce than less, but you can completely reduce it to a point where you only see these caramel onions in there, and then not much juice left, and then just kind of put the caramelized onions on top of the ribs, and that would be beautiful too. But because my kids love the sauce, so I'm gonna keep more sauce, but I still want to thicken it a little bit more to make it look prettier. The color will look prettier that way. But when you're doing this, it may seem like there's a lot of sauce left that you have to like maybe thicken for a long time and you walk away. Don't do that. Keep your eyes on it, because this thing can go like from a lot of the sauce to like, oh, too much, thicken too much, like it dried out within seconds, okay? You don't know, because, so you want to keep an eye on it. Okay, so you see, I keep moving it because no matter how non-stick your pans are, I still think it's safe to move around so you don't burn, okay, your meat. So I always move around when I'm doing high heat on anything, just so I'm making sure there's not a specific point that you're heating up too much and burned it, ruin it. Okay, look, this is about how much I want, okay? So see, this sauce is thickened a little more. It's not as much sauce left. It's more of the onions than the sauce. Okay, I'm gonna turn the heat down, and I'm gonna plate it. It's done. This dish is done. Simple, no sweat, like I told you. Okay. So here, see, it's still holding this shape, kind of. And I'm gonna flip it. And then here, too. I'm just gonna this and flip it. Oh, look at that. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is, here, look at this sauce. Look at this sauce. Okay, see? Now it's more like a onion sauce, right? Okay, I'm just gonna put it on top of the ribs. Look how beautiful this is. Pour it. on top of it. This is the yumminess, the good part of this dish. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Yum. Do I need to tell you how yummy this looks? This smells awesome too. Okay, now of course we're trying to make this dish clean. The last part is cilantro. Okay, again, it's not required, but it's nice to have because it can decorate a little bit, make it look, you know, prettier with the green color. And it gives another layer of flavor, you know. Oh, look at that. But you don't have to use it if you don't like it, okay? But if you do like cilantro, this is the great combination for this. All right, now my kids cannot wait because they hear this, they smell this ribs, so they want to come up here and try it. Come on, kiddos. Oh, look at that. Pretty, and it smells so good. I'm telling you, every time women have a party, this dish goes out first. I mean, this dish will be gone first. All right, let's just try this. Look at this. Let's see. Here, the meat just fall off the bones so easily like this. Okay, if you have rice or noodles or any kind of plain starch kind of thing, you just put this on top of it and then put a little sauce on top of it. And this is, oh, heaven. Okay, here, do this. You like it? Does it smell good? Watch out, it's hot. Good? Thumbs up? Alright, so remember to give this recipe a try. You will not regret it. Believe me, you're gonna thank me later. I'll see you later.